When we don't know any better, we can't do any better. And that's the problem with many beginning creative freelancers, including voiceovers. The other problem, this is a big one, is that people don't know what they don't know and are not open to feedback or advice anymore. I can't tell you how many times I've been accused of being an old school veteran, a dinosaur of the voiceover industry, who's supposedly afraid of a new generation of talent coming my way. Oh, I'm so afraid. I usually get these comments when I write about how not easy it is to have a voiceover career. When I write about hard topics like rates and fair pricing. Oh, Paul, you're just trying to scare us, they say. Or you're trying to get rid of the competition, Paul. As if I would ever regard them as competitors. I don't know anyone who talks the way I do with my silly accent and who also speaks Dutch. No competition. And yet, part of me understands those newcomers because at one point I was one of them and I thought I knew a lot there was to know. But the difference is that I always welcomed and appreciated help. I never doubted or ridiculed the motives of those who were trying to support me. Because I was so green and unfamiliar with the market in the United States, now remember, I'd lived most of my life in the Netherlands, I made this big blunder, and it's blunder number 9 if you're keeping track. I was bidding on projects not really knowing what they were worth. This may sound stupid, but it's something people do every day and it's hurting all of us. I call it blind bidding. Every time we accept a job for less than what it's reasonably worth, we teach the client how to treat us. We tell them this is acceptable. Do you think they will ever be inclined to pay a penny more? It's a case of classic conditioning. A certain behavior creates a certain expectation. Once a client knows they can get more for less, they're hooked, and that low price becomes the new normal. Mind you, even though it sounds like it, I'm not blaming clients. Really, no, I'm not. If we want to shoot ourselves in the foot as voiceovers, that's our problem. When I need to make a big purchase, I too shop for the best deals, for the best rates. But I also do my research. A couple of years ago, we bought a lovely home in Vermont. You're looking at the backyard right now. That's my backyard. It took us at least 6 months to find it and make a winning offer. During those 6 months, we got to know the market and were able to see how much a house was really worth. Makes sense, right? Now, in the beginning of our search, we put in bids we thought were reasonable, and we were so disappointed that we did not get our dream house because our offers were rejected. Looking back on those uninformed bids, it was no surprise why our offer was declined. It turned out that we didn't put in the right value on the right property. Mind you, this was in a market with more demand than supply, more buyers than sellers. The voiceover market is the reverse. There are way more voice talents than voice seekers. This means it is a buyer's market, and I don't see that changing any day soon. Now, what happens when you see a voiceover project you think is a good fit, and you're just guessing how much you should charge? You're just guessing. If your bid is too low, the client thinks you're an amateur. Low prices, low rates are an indication of low quality. Remember, it's all about perception. If your bid is too high, the client thinks you're just full of yourself. What an idiot. Pricing is one of the toughest topics in voiceovers, in part because it is an unregulated market. There are so many variables and people are desperate to work and build a portfolio. This means that we are already negotiating out of a position of weakness. There's another mistake beginners tend to make. They don't know the difference between net and gross. It's not how much you make, but how much you get to keep that matters. My principle is when it comes to pricing, it's always been that I need to price for profit, not just to cover expenses. That's why I can't afford to work for low rates. Those who think they can usually have a partner with a full-time job and benefits, am I right? So, how do you know what to charge? Well, Thankfully, there are plenty of resources to help you get a better idea of what to ask for. We have one of the most helpful communities I've ever been a part of, and there's the GVAA rate guide. Look it up, GVAA. The Gravy for the Brain rate guide, and we have the SAG after rates for starters, so you cannot claim ignorance. When you see these fees on these rate guides for the first time, you may say, wow, those prices are so high. I could never charge these rates. And clients will try to tell you that too. But no, these rates are based on what other working voiceovers are charging and on what the clients they are working with are paying right now. And some clients are paying even more. Remember, the client has the right to work with cheaper talent, and you have the right to find a better paying client. You can either be part of the problem of sliding rates, or be a part of the solution by charging what you are worth. If you're running a for-profit business, that is. Yes, I know there will always be a low end and a high end of the market, a dollar store and an Apple store. But remember, people are still buying Apple products, even though they tend to be a little bit more expensive than the alternatives. Question is, what kind of store do you want to be? What do you want your future to look like? Most beginning voiceovers I know want to become financially independent and take care of the ones they love. They want to save up for college for their kids, save up for a summer vacation. They want to be able to afford a good healthcare plan, pay the rent and mortgage, or replace a car when you need to replace it, or a household appliance. Nobody wants to live from paycheck to paycheck and struggle. You also need money to invest in your business so it can grow. Have you seen the cost of Studio Bricks booths lately? They have to ship them from Spain, and they weigh as much as an elephant. One of my colleagues pays $500 a month to his webmaster for search engine optimization alone. And remember that the money you make also has to pay for the days that you cannot work, or you have no work, for the times that you're ill or in between projects. But those who run their business as a hobby have no idea. And if you're one of those people who says, I can charge whatever I want, it's a free market, I have to say, you're right. You can charge as little as you want. Go ahead. But why would you leave all that money on the table? Unless you're independently wealthy, that's a poor decision. You call yourself a voiceover professional, charging these amateur rates? How will you be able to support yourself and your family based on these bargain basement prices? And if that's not your goal or your need, you should know that there are thousands of other voice actors who want to make a decent living, trying to charge a decent rate so they can pay the rent and put food on the table. Those are the people you are undercutting by your choices. Don't you think it's kind of silly to charge less when you can make more? You can't make up in volume when you lose money on every sale. You're not some kind of machine that can crank out more product at the push of a button. At some point you will lose your voice by doing more and more and more for less and less and less. Maybe I'm totally misguided, but I would rather do less for more than more for less. Don't put in a blind bid, please. Don't put in a blind bid. It makes you look stupid and unprofessional, and it hurts all of us. And don't claim ignorance either. Do your homework, price for profit, and make life a little bit easier for all of us. I'll see you next time.